Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing the Bad Batch episode Entombed, which is episode 5 of season 2. Before I get started on my review, if you haven't watched the episode yet, please go watch it and then come back and watch this review because it will include spoilers. With that warning out of the way, let me get started on my review. I absolutely loved Entombed. Not only is it my favorite episode of season 2 so far, I'm pretty confident in saying it's my favorite episode of the series so far. This episode was so much fun. I've already rewatched it a second time, which I believe is the first time I've rewatched an episode of The Bad Batch in the same day it came out. To me, this episode is the perfect combination of everything I love about Star Wars and everything I love about Indiana Jones. It melded it perfectly together. Obviously, Star Wars has always included a lot of elements of Indiana Jones in a lot of the movies, books, TV shows, stuff like that. But there's always a little taste of it. To me, this was just like the perfect marriage of these two franchises that I love so much. In fact, I love this episode so much. When it ended, I kind of like, I wouldn't mind if this had been one of these 2 or 3 part episodes that sometimes they've done in the Star Wars animated series before, or even if this was like a longer episode, like, oh, this is almost like a movie-length episode. Because I would have loved more content. All the little puzzles they had to solve and booby traps they had to face. I would have loved if those been even given more time to kind of explore. It was an amazing episode, and again, no complaints. Loved everything about it. I do know I think some people are going to label it as a filler episode because there was really no like overall series plot moving forward. Kind of big reveals or anything like that. But despite that, this episode was so much fun. I cannot fault it for anything. Love it, love it, love it. So I guess, beyond just the concept episode, which I absolutely love, character Fee, found her very interesting. I know we got a little bit of a taster earlier in this season. I wasn't sure to make of it. They just a very brief appearance. I loved her in this episode. She was, the right mixture of trying to figure out, like, was she a good person? Is she a scam artist? Is she real? Is she making all this up as it goes along? And I think the good thing is a lot of this stuff, even after the episode, you don't know. Like, she could be legit, or she could have just been BS in her way through the entire episode and just getting lucky with stuff. She obviously seems to have some skills, but and she did some good things. Like, there's a couple points where like she saved people's lives where she didn't have to do that. But at the same time, is everything she's true? Obviously, she claimed she knew what the artifact was. Was she just making that up, and or was this the actual artifact that she said it was? Who knows? We'll probably never know. I loved how Omega clearly is hero worshiping her. I love that little story detail they decided to include. So much so that in certain scenes, she is copying her movements, like a lot of times like a little kid does when they find something they admire. They just want to do exactly what they do. Every time Fee would make a claim, Omega would initially, oh wow, that's awesome, that's wow. Clearly no doubt in her mind, whatever this person says is the coolest thing ever, and it's 100% true, which is very much a kid thing to do. I do think you had almost some level of concern, but also jealousy from Hunter. I think Hunter is so used to Omega kind of projecting that type of attitude onto the members of the Bad Batch. This is really the first time she's done that with somebody outside the group. So, one way I think Hunter is being protective of her, like, he obviously does not think Fee is up to any good. So I think he's trying to keep Omega from becoming too enthralled with this person who's might be a bad influence. But at the same time, like I said, I think it's also that jealousy, like, well, she used to look at me that way, what did I do wrong? But now she's obsessing over this other person and kind of hero worshiping this new individual. Again, all the stuff with the booby traps and puzzles were awesome. Loved it. The reveal at the end of what happened when they get the stone and they remove it, and it basically unleashes this huge mechanical monster. Never saw that coming in a million years. I know we had seen glimpses of that creature in the trailer for this season, but I did not expect that to be revealed at the end of this episode. That was very cool. I mean, really is one of those moments when that happened, when the mountains began to blow up. I was like, oh my God, what in the world is happening? It had me on the edge of my seat. I had no clue what was going to happen there. The level of suspense was amazing. I loved, again, kind of going back to the Indiana Jones comparison. This is by far the most Indiana Jones-like music that has ever been in Star Wars. The score for this episode was absolutely amazing. I really paid attention a lot to that a lot in my second rewatch of it. The music cues were perfection. Again, to me, I had zero complaints about this episode. I loved it. If this became the entire series, just the Bad Batch, going along with Fee hunting for ancient treasures, I think I'd be all on board. This was absolutely amazing. Loved it so much. So I'm excited to kind of see Fee more throughout this season. Obviously, I don't think she's going to be there every episode, but maybe it's one of those things. Every 3 or 4 episodes, she pops back up and she has some sort of adventure with the Bad Batch. I also will be very interested to learn as we see more of her throughout the series. Is she a good influence on the Bad Batch, or is she going to become like a liability for them? I'm very curious to see where that goes. And if anything, that's probably the biggest plot point of this episode for the series in general, is like, what does Fee's introduction into the Bad Batch mean, and how is she going to impact them in a positive way or a negative way? But again, loved Entombed so much. I can brag about how much I love this episode forever. I loved it so much. So comment section below, did you love Entombed as much as I did? If not, let me know. Obviously, everybody's entitled to their opinion. So if you had issues with this episode, let me know. But if you loved it, let me know. And like I said, I think this is my favorite episode of The Bad Batch. Let me know in the comment section below, what is your favorite episode so far of The Bad Batch? If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.